Well, thank you, and welcome to our session. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing IT for the future, and really, we're going to be focusing on SAP-centric ERP modernization. I'm Andrew Hayden. I'm the Principal Product Marketing Manager for the Automate products, and I will be your host today. All right, so what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm going to start off talking about the CXO's dilemma and a lot of those challenges that our C-level executives are faced with every day that we're often trying to overcome. And how does precisely automate overcome them? Well, that's what we're going to talk about throughout this presentation. After that, we're going to talk about some of the challenges with SAP modernization and why that can be so vexing for so many of us as we go through it. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about precisely automate. I'll do a quick wrap up, and then we'll take some questions at the end. So when we talk about the CXO's dilemma, it really falls into these three categories. Obviously, there are more, but we run into these mostly when we talk to our customers. And they're very complex challenges, and some of them we have no control over, like the business environment. Our CXOs are trying to figure out how to manage in a complex, dynamic business environment that can change on a dime. How do you have an agile organization when you've got macro factors coming in all the time? You've got geopolitical factors, you've got issues with your supply chain that can be completely unexpected, you've got issues around your financial situation. So that's one of the big areas, just the business environment. Then when it comes to SAP modernization often sits at the heart of your overall IT modernization efforts and can be highly complex, and it's really challenging because if you're over budget or you're delayed, it can cause ripple effects throughout your entire IT infrastructure. So there was a company named Horvath. They found that 60% of these SAP modernization efforts are either over budget or delayed. So that makes it very difficult from a C-level executive standpoint to plan, to do your strategic operations and figure out where your business needs to go. And then layer on top of all that, the fact that artificial intelligence has really come in and is kind of getting driven into our organizations as a new panacea for driving efficiencies throughout. And yet, all the promise of AI, and what we're seeing is that there was a study that said only 5% of AI initiatives ever actually make it into production. So right now, there's a lot of questions about if AI is going to be able to drive the utility and the efficiency that they say it's going to. And our C-level executives are having to deal with that. So what's this creating is this tension between today and tomorrow, because today we have to maintain business continuity despite a lot of the challenges that we've got. We've got long IT lead times. We've got a lot of manual processes based on email and spreadsheets and things of that nature for managing our data. We've got expensive on-premise IT infrastructure that often becomes legacy very quickly, and to make changes and update it. And the personnel to maintain it can be extremely expensive. And then overall, in order to do many of the things we want, we have fragmented, poor quality data. Now, that's where we are today. Where we want to get to, and this is where part of this tension is we want to get to agile innovation in our IT organizations and across our enterprise. We want to have scalable automation. That means we can deploy automation almost everywhere. We want cloud-first IT infrastructure to get rid of a lot of the challenges with legacy and a lot of that administrative burden that we've got. And we want high integrity, high quality data that gives us really what we need for data-driven insights and trust in the results we get out of artificial intelligence. Now, when you go down a level, it really comes to that SAP modernization challenges. And SAP is a very interesting system because in many ways, it kind of forces this interdependence of process and data. SAP gives you very, very specific processes through which to create and manage data. So it makes it difficult if you want to do a process improvement initiative. You can't necessarily overlook the data that process is creating. Because if the process is creating bad data and you improve it, you may create a lot of bad data very quickly in your SAP system. And it can be very difficult to back that out. Same thing on the data quality side. If you're just doing data quality initiatives and working on improving that quality of that data and not looking at the process that's creating it, it becomes a self-fulfilling and continuing problem of data quality. So this interdependence of process and data in SAP is a very, very important thing for you to consider. And we run into this constantly when we talk to our customers about how automation can help them overcome that. And through our research, we found that there is this multidimensionality of the complexity within SAP. I mentioned the data, I mentioned the processes, but if you think about it, the data itself is complex. So take a material record where your average number of data elements is about 300. And in order to create or manage that material master data, you need to go through specific processes that often can have 6 to 8 steps, and often those steps require interaction with individuals across your organization. So you have this complexity of the data, the complexity of the process, and the complexity of the organization. And whether you're in ECC or whether you're in S/4HANA, these complexities don't go away. Just by moving to S/4HANA, you're not magically getting some simplified data and simplified process in order to create and manage your SAP master data. So keep that in mind when we talk about some of these complexities. And we'll talk about how Precisely Automate can help you overcome those. And I'll show you some examples of customers who've been able to do that. And those are just a few of the challenges that we see with this modernization within SAP. There are other ones around moving to cloud and what it takes to move from an on-premises SAP system, ERP system, to a cloud ERP system. You've got to move to a clean core strategy. You often want to do that. You're applying artificial intelligence to it. You've got integration between SAP and other systems. So you've got many, many different aspects to it. And these are just a few of them that all of our customers come to, or many of our customers come to us and say, I'm running into this particular challenge. Pick a bubble on the circle and you'll find any one of those things. We can help you overcome almost any one of them. So specifics around these complexity, we do research in conjunction with ASUG every year. So ASUG being the American SAP User Group. And in our most recent survey, we found that 63% of our respondents said that the complexity of the business processes, go back to what I talked about, is actually a leading challenge to them deploying automation. So we want to get to scalable automation, but the complexity of SAP makes that difficult. There are inefficiencies when you're going through that modernization process. Often you have multiple user interfaces because ECC has the SAP GUI and S/4HANA has Fiori and the Web GUI. And you can have these three running concurrently at the same time. And often one business user is dealing with which one of these interfaces am I using for which particular process, depending on which ERP system they're going to. And then challenges around integration. So at ASUG itself, in their research, almost half of the people that they surveyed found that there were challenges driven by product incompatibility, data consolidation difficulties, and fragmented system landscapes. So all of these things become very, very challenging, and all of these are ones which Precisely Automate can help you overcome. So how do we do this? The Precisely Automate portfolio consists of these three products. One is Studio, which is a spreadsheet to a SAP automation product. That means you can do mass data processes, whether you're working in Excel or whether you're working in Google Sheets, and use that as your primary interface for SAP. So what it means is you don't have that problem with those multiple user interfaces. And it can do any SAP process. It includes data validation, so you can check that data before you post it to SAP. You can extract data out of SAP, make changes, and then repost it back into SAP. There are many, many things you can do with Studio. Studio Manager gives you some server-side capabilities for managing things like your user licenses, script management. You can do server-side execution on some of your jobs, so it gets it off the desktop. And then Evolve is our full form and workflow business process automation platform that is really great for those complex data-intensive processes, like a master data account create or something of that nature, where you do have that complex data, you have the complex process, and it needs to touch many people in the organization. Some examples of some of our customers who've used Precisely Automate to achieve their overall business goals and really improve and drive efficiencies. We have an energy drinks company that cut the time to market for new products in half by moving from a spreadsheet-based system to an Evolve-based form and workflow system. Now, they did that while also expanding globally. So they went from being a regional player to being a global player, and which meant that they had new supply chain, new plants, new customers, new sales organizations. So massively increased the complexity of their own organization, still cut their time to market in half through automation. 90% reduction in the time to make a simple change in materials for a manufacturer. They cut the time that it took to make changes to 100 materials from 60 hours down to 5. It would have cost them about $4,500, cost them less than $300. In the first year, they saved about $500,000. 97% reduction in the time to create a new customer. This is one of the largest companies in the world. They've got over 1.25 million B2B customers. It took them 144 hours of work time, so about and in reality, that was several months, to create a new customer in their system or make a change to a customer record. They cut that down to 6 hours. So they cut it down to less than a week. Their customer satisfaction went up significantly. So these are some of the things you can see from automation and a no-code, low-code platform like ours today. This is without AI, and we're going to be applying AI throughout 2026 and 2027. So keep that in mind. You don't necessarily need to adopt an AI platform in order to get the kind of benefits that people are promising from AI. This is what the power of a highly capable no-code, low-code platform like Precisely Automate can do for you in your SAP environments. So really quickly, what are we talking about? So why should you consider Precisely Automate? Well, one is just business agility. It's the ability through that no-code, low-code platform to scale automation very quickly, to get fast time to value. We literally have had customers install Studio on a Tuesday, they're in production by Thursday. And because it's applicable across your entire SAP landscape, it's not a point solution. It means that you can adopt Studio or Evolve in one part of your business and apply it across your entire SAP environment, across different businesses, across different departments and business units. We're implementing artificial intelligence. Now, we've looked at AI and said, how do we apply this practically? We've kind of sat back and looked at what are the opportunities that artificial intelligence really provides. And it's in some pretty simple ways in terms of helping you with data management and process automation for getting a better, more efficient development of that process or a better, more efficient result for your business user. We don't believe this is going to replace people. We believe it's going to supplement them. And then Evolve has new AI features that are going to drive a lot of benefits in terms of reporting and other information about what's happening throughout your processes. And then overall, for that SAP modernization, the ability for us to automate Fiori and SAP GUI and GUI for HTML processes through a common interface means that the business users are no longer stuck with that, trying to figure out what works where. We have cloud and hosted offerings. We have support for a clean core approach. We recently got our clean core certification. And then we've got a full set of APIs that allow you in Evolve to connect multiple systems together to your SAP. One of the most common ones being SAP and Salesforce for customer data, where you can use a single Evolve form to manage data for both of those. And when you post it, it posts to both systems, or it pulls data from both. So a lot of power just in the APIs themselves. For those of you who don't know very much about Precisely, we're the leader in data integrity. So we have the software, data, and consulting services that you need to be able to really get ahead in this highly complex world and gain a sense of what's happening in your data environment, to get a handle on it, to improve your data, not only your data quality, but your data governance. You can enrich that data. And so you can get that trusted data that you need, not only for AI, but for your reporting purposes. We've got about 12,000 customers worldwide. We're in over 90 of the Fortune 100. And on any given day, we've got about 2,700 employees. Many of the largest companies in the world trust us with their data and their processes. And hopefully after this, you will check us out and see how we can help you with your data and your processes. If you'd like more information, stop by precisely.com, where you can find demos, white papers, more information about how we can help you overcome a lot of those challenges as you go through your modernization efforts. And even after you've gone through your modernization effort, you're still going to have challenges with your data. You're going to have challenges with your processes. We can help with all of that. Now, finally, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I know your time is valuable, and we definitely appreciate that you have chosen to spend it with us. And hopefully everyone has a happy and healthy day. Thanks.